I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the lands of the Hul'qumi'num speaking people, specifically the Kwamutsun Village. The Board of Education is honored to be able to collaboratively walk beside the Kwetsun, Malahat, Subasis, Halalt, Penelakut, Staminas, and Liaxo peoples who have cared for these lands for thousands of years. May we walk gently on the ceded and unceded territories of their lands as we work together to lift all of the Hahasmanam. Adoption agenda that the Board of Education of School District 79 Cowichan Valley adopts the agenda of May 7th, 2024 open board meeting, moved by Trustee Thorne, seconded by Trustee Doman. All those in favor? Thank you. Trustees, is there anything that you believe needs to come out of the consent agenda? Hearing nothing, the Board of Education of School District 79 Cowichan Valley approves the consent agenda items on the open board meeting of May 7th, 2024 as presented, moved by Trustee Croft, seconded by Trustee Lise. All those in favor? Thank you. Minutes of the April 2nd board meeting that the Board of Education of School District 79 Cowichan Valley adopts the minutes of April 2nd, 2024 open board meeting, moved by Trustee Thorne, seconded by Trustee Strachan. All those in favor? Thank you. Recognitions and delegations. So tonight we're doing recognition of Skills Canada provincial medalists. So the Board of Education would like to recognize the following 5 students from the Cowichan Valley School District who competed and won medals at the Skills Canada Provincials held on April 17th in Abbotsford. Tonight we are recognizing students Brandon Young, Hayden, how do you say your last name? Thank you. From Shemina Secondary. Tayden Ross is not here with us, but Esther Pakma is. From Cowichan Open School, and Haruki, excellent, from Cowichan Secondary. So in the wind turbine junior skills category, Brandon and Hayden from Shemina Secondary captured silver medal, demonstrating their expertise and commitment to excellence. Congratulations. Tayden from Cowichan Open Learning claimed the silver medal in carpentry, showcasing exceptional craftsmanship and skill. In cabinet making category, Haruki from Cowichan Secondary achieved the gold medal, showcasing unparalleled precision and creativity in his work. Furthermore, Esther from Cowichan Open School triumphed with a gold medal in hairstyling, demonstrating outstanding talent and flair in her craft. Notably, Haruki and Esther have earned the honor of representing the Cowichan Valley School District at the upcoming Skills Canada Nationals in Quebec at the end of the month. Wow. Their exceptional performances at the provincial level have positioned them as formidable competitors on the national stage. The Board of Education extends congratulations to all of you for your remarkable achievements at the Skills Canada Provincials and wishes Haruki and Esther the best of luck as they prepare to compete on the national level. The board is very proud of these young competitors and their hard work and accomplishments and are pleased to recognize them with a token of our thanks. Thank you very much, and you're free to escape now.
Nationals, that is awesome.
In Quebec.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Chaperone.
Thank you, Ryan.
I should go.
I think that
anybody has a chance to go to the provincials in Abbotsford, it's just amazing. You can walk around there and watch kids do a ton of different stuff. And actually the kids, they're vested in it and they're diligent and they're working really hard and studious, and it's just really cool.
Very cool. we're just waiting for our next delegation, or actually our first delegation, aren't we? Yeah, we'll have Millbay Nature School Eagle Clan Pack will be here with us. Trustees, before we get started, I would like a motion to extend the presentation as a policy from 10 minutes to 15 minutes. Do I have a motion? Moved by Trustee Lise, seconded by Trustee Croft. All those in favor? Thank you.
Put it on the big screen for you.
Okay.
Basically, cursors.
Oh, because somebody needs to push them, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if you've received one of these. Is it okay if I pass these out to those who haven't received one?
Yeah. We're gonna go like this. It's gonna go full screen. So this is what's gonna be up on the big screen.
Trustee Strachan from
I love one. Thank you for bringing a copy, that's kind of you.
Welcome. How are you? Good. The board has just passed a motion saying that we will extend the presentation to 15 minutes. So we'll give you 15 minutes for your presentation, and then after that, if the board has any questions that they would like to ask of you, they will ask after your 15 minutes is up.
Okay.
So the floor is yours.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Jamie. I am the founding chair of the PAC at our school, and I am an existing co-chair of the Millbay Nature School PAC. So we've written it down just for ease of everything, so allow me, I'll just read, okay? Are you ready? You got pictures going? Okay, we just have some pictures of the kids at the school. Okay. Quashinto Millbay Nature School is a unique program on the forefront of needed educational change. The Cowichan Valley School District has failed our QMBNS by not providing vision and leadership for this program to not just survive, but to thrive. QMBNS offers a nature and land-based education approach to delivering the BC curriculum co-created with local Indigenous wisdom. This is a well-researched approach to education, and our school has been celebrated in books, academic literature, documentaries, and by the Minister of Education herself. Enrollment numbers have been the theme of the sparse information provided by the district, so we would like to share information on the background of why we had a decrease in enrollment last year. Our PAC chair heard from many families when they decide to leave the school, and their reasons for leaving falling into three main categories. Number one, lack of trust in the Cowichan Valley School District's commitment to the program. Number two, parents do not fully understand the BC curriculum and the novel ways it can be taught, and therefore they didn't think the kids were learning. There is a bias that Indigenous methods of learning and living, such as prioritizing children in education, are ineffective. Number three, limited support for diverse learners worsened by systemic funding problems for designations has led to insufficient resources being spread too thin, affecting children who require support. The seriousness of this last issue is highlighted by the Parents for Inclusive Education Committee being on hiatus. Those parents had to withdraw their children from the district because the necessary support for their children was non-existent. You would have learned these things if you had followed your own policies of collaboration, transparent communication, and shared decision-making. Specifically, Administrative Procedure 100, 102, 105, and 150, all of which have been breached. When staff don't follow policies, it is up to the superintendent to ensure they follow them, and it is up to trustees to reject recommendations presented by staff that are based on improper process. A complete disregard for the tenets of Indigenous ways of the Longhouse spoke of by our late elder's family shows that you do not believe these principles are to be respected and utilized within this school district system. When we saw that families were planning to transition to different schools in June of 2023, we reached out to our school trustee and were given advice from Robin Gray. She assured us that decreased enrollment is typical during times of instability and change, and that there was no reason to worry. The previous year had been very unstable. The founding principal, Kim Ondrick, took a leave because her husband had passed away. We had a temporary part-time principal for the first semester, and Kim returned for the second semester, but soon recognized that she was not able to fulfill her leadership requirements, and she retired at the end of that year. It was a very disruptive year without the leadership from previous years. Meanwhile, our late elder became very ill and passed away in fall of 2023. This district has failed this community by not stepping up to provide guidance, education, and leadership in a time of such transition. This decision was made in a colonial way, top down. No one was consulted at the school, not the principal, not the teachers, not the EAs, not the elders, not the parents, not the children. We fear the damage has been done. You kept this decision from us until deadlines were imminently forced on teachers and parents. Your actions have scattered children to other schools already. Parents are afraid to send their kids to a program that is so vulnerable to this level of disruption. This has caused a complete mental health crisis amongst children, parents, staff, and elders. While triggering a mental health crisis in our small community was surely not intended, Kathy Schmidt did communicate to the PAC chair that she completely expected this type of reaction. The decisions you make without consultation have consequences that affect the lives of children and the community, the greater community alike. Unintended outcomes could have been avoided if staff had gone through a respectful and meaningful consultation process. You have also greatly offended a prominent family within the largest nation in BC at a time when implementation of DRIPA is a priority of the provincial government. The Cowichan Valley School Board has shown the rest of the province its priorities. Same old, same old. For the parents of QMBNS, we are desperately disappointed that you didn't see the value of this program holds for our children and for the future of our communities. You clearly did not understand it. You did not promote it, and you did not come in its time of dire need. You have shown us how precarious progress is. We have some requests. One, first and foremost, suspend the program closure. We just need one of you to make a motion to reconsider this decision and a majority to support it. You can direct your senior management staff to pause the planned reconfiguration, which will result in the collapse of QMBNS as it currently exists. You can stop the board-initiated transfer of current QMBNS teachers who carry the oral teachings of our late elder and are integral to the nature-based program and operation of the school in its unique model. Number two, consultation and alternatives. Please engage with us in a meaningful consultation process with the community that explores all solutions, including addressing growth pressures, while honoring the needs of deeply affected stakeholders who were otherwise deprived of that opportunity. In doing so, the board can honor the name Crescental, gifted by our late elder, and preserve the Leyland built by the children, which you will see in your books. As our children learn every day at QMBNS, it is not only okay, but even a welcome learning experience to make mistakes. And through the wisdom of our late elder, we have all learned the importance of maintaining our friendship bridges as we Crescental through those mistakes. We stand before you, still committed to preserving our friendship bridge and moving forward as allies. Okay, who's next?
My name is Tina Shrey. I have one child in the QMBNS program. He's been there for 5 years, and it's been an amazing 5 years. And I have to preface it by saying that he is a neurotypical child. He's been thriving in this program. I have in front of me a letter that was sent by our late elder's family, and I feel privileged that I can read it to you. To whom it may concern. It is with great sadness that we write this letter. We are in mourning right now, so we typically do not come out publicly to share things of this nature. But we feel it is necessary under the circumstances. Upon hearing the news about the nature school, we could not help but feel intense sorrow and grief. The nature school was my late husband's dream. He was a child who was crushed by the residential school system and had a vision for how things could be for our children. He started in 1980 as a support worker, and he worked until his death, giving everything to this district to provide education to trustees, teachers, and youth alike. He felt that in all of his years of working with the district, he was most proud of his contributions to the nature school. This is everything he stood for and fought for. I wish to express my utmost disappointment with the school district's decision to shut down the nature school, with very little notice or agency, I might add. To me, this decision was made in haste with very little thought and consideration for the children and families that have been a part of the nature school family for the last 6 years. My late husband and I worked extremely hard alongside the dedicated teachers, staff, and parents for that school to be what it is today, and it hurts that you're willing to discredit that. These children are a gift of this earth. They are our next generation of change makers, and they are true children of the land. They say it takes a village to raise a child, so I cannot fathom why we're taking away our village. This is not honoring the teachings of Nusatmat Shak, I'm sorry for the pronunciation, Shakwali, Deep Sorrow, Sulsamiti Dev George, Sula Thie Maya Modiste, and family. I do want to add that I come from a third world country, and the fact that I'm standing here right now for this reason is mind-boggling. Thank you.
My name is Cami Lockwood, and I'm a parent of 2 children at QM and BS, and 1 child at home. And I just want to say that of all the things throughout this whole process, the last number of weeks, what has impressed me most has been the community shown among the parents. We have come together, we've used all our resources and brought that to the table to help persuade you to change your decision. And I just want you to know that moving forward, as you have this choice before you, that either you can have incredibly strong allies that will make this school the jewel in the crown for District 79, and we will fight just as hard to make sure that it succeeds, or the alternative. And I think you've all already seen how much this group of parents has been able to mobilize our community.
Sorry to put you on the spot. Sorry.
I'd just like to say that the whole point of the school, something that was trying to get learned since day one, was that we're living in a world that's a triangle and we wanted to turn it into a circle. And the way you chose this decision is the opposite of what the teachings of the school are laid out. And our late elder was trying to teach us. And you guys clearly didn't listen to his teachings or our teachings that he taught us, and we tried to, and you didn't try to learn with us, you tried to, and this decision, I'm sorry if I stutter, I don't have anything written down. This decision, this is felt really wrong, the way it was done in the time where the school was lost and laid out there along with teachers and our principal. This is when you decide to close it. I wanted like that because you decided to close it when the school is at its time when the school is at its time of downfall because of all of those changes, a bunch of kids left. You didn't really feel like you weren't considering that in your vote, or you did consider it in your vote, but you didn't care.
You have 1 minute.
My daughter Delilah really like you to listen to. She's come out of the school after 6 years. She's not here saying, don't shut down my school. She's not telling you how much fun she has there. She's asking you to change the way you think. There's hundreds of kids at the school like this, so it's a success the way it works. That's all I'd like to say.
Thank you. Trustees, do you have questions for the delegation? Trustee Thorne?
Hi, Zebka. You speak well of my brother. We grew up together. Our mothers made us brothers. But I want you to understand something. He and I struggled to learn. It didn't come easy for us because where we were at. And we did learn, and we learned to share. That was the only thing we could do with each other, was to live in our teachings. We come from the house of Kakaletsa. The people who wrote that letter, that's my family. This board did everything they possibly could. We looked at a lot of options. But the key comment I want to give to you is, I wanted the best for the children. I wanted them to learn. I don't know a lot of things, but I know what my cousin believed in. He believed in education. He really believed in it, so did I. We come from Samana. We carry Samana teachings. And I was honored that you didn't mention his name, otherwise I would have said, get out. So it tells me you carry some teachings from my brother. But for the sake of these little ones, I want the best for them. Because doggone it, we worked hard, a lot of me and my family. We paid a price. And I want my kids in the school of their choice, or where they can go to learn what they have to learn to do what they want to do as free people. I know at first I was hurt, but I looked at this and I said, hey, I gathered my clan. And we said, the children, think of what they're going to need down the road. Are they going to learn what they have to do what they want to do? Believing in teachings is one thing. Living it is another. But it doesn't pay your bills. It doesn't do a lot of things. It's to help you. And unfortunately, our world is so crazy, it takes money. That's why the academic portion to me is important. I'm not trying to hurt anybody or speak against anything. I made a pact to always stand for the children. What was best, that was acceptable for the children. Much like you're doing right now. I appreciate that. Don't throw my family's teachings at me. I know our family's teachings. I would gladly do anything for these kids, providing they get educated properly and grow to be good human beings. I just had to get up and say that, because I'm grieving. You know, I almost didn't want to come, because I knew you'd be here. Not that I was scared, because in here, it hasn't been settled. it's still bouncing. Once before I came and I didn't want to come after having surgery for 2 of our kids being blanketed because I wanted to stand with my Shellicor here, my family. It wasn't what we do is not out of spite or angry. It's not because we don't know. It's not because we disregard. It's because we care. There's a big difference. I just want to make that point clear before I sat down. I'm not looking away from you. I'm looking at you. But I'm also looking at tomorrow for these little ones.
Trustees, anything else you wish to add? A question?
It's not a question. I want to say I think it's moving. I know that you've put a great deal of depth into all of the conversations, and thoughts, and presentations, and your words. I have to agree with everybody. I really have to agree with what my colleague Trustee Thorne has said, and that when we find a situation that we really hate and that is tragic for us, we want to place blame and we want to question other people's motives. And I just would like to offer that none of us here have ever questioned your motives in really believing deeply what is best for your kids. I know that all of my colleagues here are striving to do the same. Sorry, I don't have a question for you. I mean, it's been a lot said here today. And I'm deeply grateful. I'm deeply grateful that you came previously last week. And I just want to honor you for not only saying what you've said, but for standing up over and over again and continuing to share that message. And I just ask that as we go forward, that we do that on both sides with some humility and with some faith in everyone who's involved in these conversations.
If I may, the failure of the program was not a conversation that was had with us. No, that is what we're
Sorry. Yes. It has to go through the chair. Pardon me.
Trustees, any other questions? Hearing none, thank you very much for coming in today. Your words have been heard. Mr. Norman, can I get you at the door, please? Report of the closed meeting, 6.1, Mr. Sandquist.
Thank you. The board met in closed session for an hour just prior to this open. There was a facility construction update and school programming issue discussed, and business was not concluded, and the board will go back into closed immediately following open.
Thank you, Mr. Sandquist. Action.
Screen. Do we have one? I think we have one.
Yep, excellent. Superintendent of Schools, 8.1.1.
All right, thank you very much. In your package on page 28 of the agenda, you will see a list of principal and principal assignments for 2024-2025. Several changes were made with regard to those assignments for next year. They are effective on August 1st. And these changes were communicated to schools and the district staff on April the 25th.
Questions, trustees? Trustee Suzanne?
I'm just wondering if these were color coded for a particular reason. Or is it...
I believe they're color coded because they were the changes. Okay. 8.2.1, just wanted to share with the board that the Moose Hide campaign is a movement of Indigenous and non-Indigenous men and boys working together to end gender-based violence. May 16th is is the official campaign day. So you will notice that there is a little bit of a moose hide that will be available to all to celebrate and to acknowledge May 16th and to work closely with our this movement overall.
Superintendent Caput-John, pause. Trustee Thorne, are you just hot?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't sure.
Those beautiful brown people need fresh air.
So you waited, and I wasn't sure if you. Go ahead, Superintendent. Sorry.
All right. Moving on to 8.2.2.
Thank you, Carmen.
Attached on page 29 of the agenda package is a revised list of graduation and year-end events. The list has been updated to reflect that the times and locations of the district scholarship judging have been added. That's the change. Trustees were invited to join school staff as judges. So that's available for you around that time. I'm going to move on to 8.2.3. You are going to see on page 30 of the agenda package is the school fees and deposit schedule for 2024-2025. So the school district may charge fees for goods and services in accordance with the Ministerial Order 236-07 and Section 82 of the School Act. The district may also require refundable or partly refundable deposits for education resource materials in accordance with Section 82 of the School Act as well. So you will see that student fee schedules must be approved by the superintendent by May 31st for implementation the following September. And per policy 2, the role of the board, they are to retain the right to approve fees for academies, international students, and out-of-province students. The school fees and deposit schedules for next school year 2024-25 is attached for board information. There are no changes to standard district fees, and there's no change to refundable deposit section at all this year for following next year. But there are 2 sections for academies, those with fees and those with no fees. So note that the academies that are listed are already established and they were approved in prior years by the board. But later in the agenda under committee section, there are recommendations from April 23rd BEBC meeting regarding approval of the fees for these academies. Once the board authorizes the fees to be charged for the academies, the fees will be added to the schedule. So that is there for your information.
Questions, trustees?
All right, now we're on superintendent's updates. So I want to thank all that were involved in the April 15th non-instructional day. All school operations and transportation staff, they provided exceptional year-end activities as well overall. So many things are going on right now. May and June, there's going to be a number of activities going on. But I also want to mention that on May 1st, which has already passed, is School Principals Day. And so we want to recognize the importance of principals from elementary to high school and all the work that they do for the betterment of the school. And we have a few in the room right now. So on the non-instructional day that was held on April the 15th, the first half of the day was focused on literacy and numeracy. And during the second half of the day, school teams worked on their framework for enhancing student learning. So that occurred on April the 15th. And also on May 5th day, the National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls and Two-Spirit People was on May the 5th, which was last Sunday. So as reported at the last board meeting, it's the National Day of Awareness, also known as Red Dress Day, where red is worn or red clothing displayed to honor and remember missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirit people. I also want to share with the board that there's an expansion of the integrated child and youth teams. Recently, the province announced that Cowichan Valley will be one of the 7 new communities that will begin implementation of integrated child and youth ICY teams in November of 2024. The teams will be based on school district boundaries and will serve the communities within that boundary. So the integrated child and youth teams are part of a Pathway to Hope. It's a provincial strategy for improved mental health and substance use care in BC. ICY teams, as they're known, provide services to all children and youth up to age 19 and their families residing within the school district boundary, including those attending First Nations operated schools, independent schools, alternative school environments, and those not in school. Children and youth can connect with ICY teams through various access points, including community service providers, school staff, primary care providers, mental health and addiction services, boundary centers, and organizations that support First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Just wanted to share with the board that our Assistant Superintendent, Darlene Reynolds, attended that announcement which occurred in Vancouver with the ministry present, and we were announced at that time that we will be the recipient of one of these youth team programs. So a lot of work to do before we ever get there, and a lot of questions that need to be answered, but I wanted to share with the board that this was just announced that we will be the recipient of these youth teams.
Trustee Kraft?
Are we receiving an actual team or guidance to build our own team or money, or we don't know?
Probably don't know all of the above. We just know that we will be getting some teams, and they could be designated to us from the ministry, but it could also mean some new hires, but it really depends on how we work together with a lead that will be coming our way. So more to come.
Trustee Dillman?
Do we know when this will start?
I believe it's in the fall that the lead will come to work with us around this matter. So more to come.
Trustee Lise?
And I can say on behalf of the community team, I know Jeff is a part of us around caring for our vulnerable youth. This is a very exciting announcement, and the integration has already started between the agencies and the programs, and this is only going to enhance the work that is so desperately needed in this community. So this is actually really great news for Cowichan, and from a community perspective, this is very exciting for us. So, thank you.
Any other comments?
Thank you. Provincial assessments for literacy and numeracy grade 10 and grade 12 in June. These dates have been extended for 2 weeks. So in the past, it's been a 1 week window that students can actually do this. Now it's going to be extended for 2 weeks. So I'm sure it will help out the schools with regard to the operationalization of that. Moving on, Catalyst update, the District Drama Challenge. This occurred at Cowichan School, so on Thursday, May 2nd, from 11:30 to 2:30, teams from across the district participated in 2 categories: performance scene and improv. Teams of up to 5 students in grades 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 participated in the fun, and students from high schools were category judges.
Superintendent, may I ask you a question? Students at the secondary level would like to know why the drama challenges and things like that don't happen at the secondary level and only happen at the elementary level.
Well, I will respond by saying that I will inquire with the lead around Catalyst on maybe why that doesn't occur, and maybe this is something that they need to be aware of that they could promote for next year.
That would be wonderful, because the political science class really asked me that big question.
Okay,
I needed to bring back an answer, so thank you.
Excellent. And then we have the district chess tournament. Okay, so on April the 9th, almost 100 students participated in the district chess tournament at George Bonner Elementary School. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. We have a photo up there of such. Students played multiple rounds and made lots of new friends while they honed their skills. Many volunteers from the community as well as teacher leaders helped to make the day a huge success. So we had gold from grade 4 winners from Cobble Hill. We had gold from grade 5 winners from Cobble Hill. We had gold grade 6 winners from Discovery. Gold for grade 7 was taken by Montbrevaux, and gold for high school was taken by Francis Kelsey. So it gives you a little bit of update on the district chess tournament. Moving on, transportation registration. May is transportation registration month. Information is being sent to parents and is available on the school district website under transportation regarding changes to our annual registration process. Registration for 2024-2025 school year can be completed online between May 1st and the 31st, 2024. This week is Canadian Mental Health Week, May 6th through the 12th. Is the Canadian Mental Health Association Mental Health Week. This year's Mental Health Week is centered on healing power of compassion. The Health and Wellness Manager is sending out information to the CMHA, to district staff, as well as educational staff will be working with all of their schools to share resources that are relevant to this week as well. I want to inform the board that on May the 10th, I will be in Vancouver at the All Superintendents meeting. And then also that June is Pride Month. Just a reminder to join the Cowichan Valley School District group at the Cowichan Walk and Festival Pride Parade on Sunday, June 23rd at 10 a.m. We will have flags, stickers, and banner to walk behind on that day. So if you could put that in your calendars, Sunday, June 23rd at 10 a.m. And if there's not any questions, 8.3.1 is for board recommendation for action that the Board of Education School District number 79, Cowichan Valley, requests that the Pride Flag be flown to the school board office from May 31st to the end of June 2024 to symbolize the support of diversity and inclusion.
So how fast the hands are gonna go.
Question.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we couldn't just operationalize this so that it happens every year rather than coming back as a motion. Like, do we need to have it come back as a motion every year, or can we just not actually honor the day automatically?
You could, but this brings it forward every year into the public realm that the board are supporting it, something that's part of the public record, so it may sort of not have what I'm trying to say is when you do it annually, you recognize it annually, and it goes into the highlighter as a motion, and everybody sees that the board endorses it. If it's a straight motion forever, then it may lose some of the effect that you get from bringing it forward every year.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor, moved by trustee Lise, seconded by trustee Thorne. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Secretary Treasurer, 9.1.
Thank you. My report is all action items this evening. I begin with the annual facilities grant plan. So annually, the board are required to adopt a plan of the expenditures for the annual facilities grant. This is a fund of approximately $2.4 million that the ministry provides annually based on the size of our school districts. It's an enrollment-based funding. It is used to do the maintenance, basically the maintenance on the schools within certain categories such as roofing, painting, accessibility. Those categories are listed in the project descriptions. So there are some major upcoming repairs here that you see on the report. I'm not going to walk through every one of them. This is prepared by the operations department in conjunction with assistant superintendents after polling the schools and trying to prioritize where best to apply these funds. We could certainly spend a lot more than what we receive in the AFG fund annually on maintenance, so the prioritization of this money is really critical. So you see the plan ahead of you, and then there is a suggested motion.
Before we get to the motion, is there any questions? Seeing none, that the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley approves the 2024-2025 annual facility grant plan as presented. Moved by trustee Doma, seconded by trustee Sousa. All those in favor? Thank you, trustees.
Thank you. We're required to submit this plan by May the 17th, so we're ahead of that. The next item we have before us is the 2024-2025 annual budget. There is a guided tour in your package. We have been working on the budget together with staff and board and community since January. And from the last BEBC meeting in April, a recommendation was sent forward for the board for adoption of the budget in the amount of $133,433,592, the largest it's ever been. Before we get all the way to reading the motions, there was still one major assumption outstanding on the budget, and that was in regards to the amount that the province would fund for what is called the Shared Resource Mandate, the SRM. So this was the additional 1% that employees will be receiving above the 2% that was bargained, and if inflation exceeded 2% and was more than 3%, it was going to go to 3%. And there's also funding for exempt and principal vice principals. That decision has been delayed until really late in June. So we're not going to get confirmation of it. We did do an estimate that's in the budget, and it's not going to be to the dollar, the estimate that was prepared. So it's going to be higher or it's going to be lower, but you just need to be aware that it will be some time before we actually have that confirmed. But we built the full 3% into the budget along with the projected revenue that we think is reasonable. So I wanted you to be aware of that. That delay was expected to be out at the end of April, much delayed. So there's a little bit of a report here that sort of goes through the highlights on the budget. I think the big ones were, the big story of this year's budget again was cost escalation, and that the board were able to maintain most of what they had put in over the last few years as far as supports in areas that were important to the board, but there was little that you could do in addition to that this year. You invested another $100,000 to support Indigenous success rates, and $75,000 to support the transition from Cowichan to Cowichan secondary. Outside of that, the budget was very much balanced using surplus of $2.5 million and looking at some other areas where the budget could be trimmed. So I will leave it open if there's any questions. You have the guided tour. It shows you all of that in a summary, few-page document. It sort of puts it into layperson's terms as to what the budget actually means. When we say $133 million, it's consolidated. That's capital, operating, and special purpose fund.
Trustees, any questions or statements? Now is the time. Trustee Doman.
That increase for wages will be fully funded.
Could be higher, could be lower.
We have to wait and see. I think knowing how the wage component will be averaged across the province. But we know from our budget process that this board experienced significant increases in benefit costs to the tune of about 1.7 million in increased costs. I do not expect that we projected $940,000 of additional funding for the COLA, so we're going to be short as far as what the actual costs were. That's why the budget was challenging. But there will be a formula that allocates it out equally across the province based on size of school district, not on actual costs, and there's going to be winners and losers in that allocation. We'll have to wait and see.
Trustee Lise, then Trustee Thorne.
Is there a reason why it's so delayed, or is this uncommon?
I mean, it's provincial processes. The funding was bargained and committed. I guess it's probably just something to do with Treasury Board timelines as far as allocating it. I don't think it places it at risk. It's just a delay in the approval process. So it could be that it's an election year. It could be lots of reasons why it's late. They weren't specific.
So we're not the only district that is in this place across the province.
Every school
balancing a budget.
Every school district is waiting to hear, and it may even be true of other sectors that have the same shared resource mandate.
Trustee Thorne.
We all know for the last 3 years that budget was going to get worse every year. We knew that. So this has come as no surprise to me. We can look at the funding formula. I still don't understand. I've been here for a while. But that's why we took this job, is because we have to try to maintain what we've got going on in our schools. I'm not surprised, and Jason's done an amazing job all these years. And if you do have anything left over, Jason, I would highly recommend you add an air conditioner.
I concur, Trustee Thorne. Any other questions or statements? So I have one. In our time in Vancouver, when I wasn't with Trustee Thorne at the hospital, I had a very good conversation with board chairs, and particularly the 8 board chairs that I got time with regarding the inflation that we are not being funded for. And all of us had a lot to say regarding, isn't it interesting that we're the only local government that has to play Russian roulette with jobs every year to balance our budget? We're the only people that are issuing layoff notices hoping that we can bring those folks back because numbers have changed. We're the only branch of government that is forced to do this. I had an interesting meeting with the mayor recently who said to me, isn't it interesting how in other provinces funding is done so incredibly different so that you don't have to worry about doing that to people? There's a human cost to the cuts that we're making. I want to acknowledge that. But I also want to say that isn't it ironic that we are the only level of government where we do this every year. So I hope that our letter of inflation with the 8 chairs is later on in the agenda, but I hope that that brings us some funding. I hope that sets us on a different path. And I hope things can change to support us so that maybe next year we can be funded for inflation and we won't have to go through these again for the next few years. So here's to hoping. Folks, we got some motions on the table in front of us. Here we go. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley gives first reading in the 2024-2025 annual budget in the amount of $133,433,592. Moved by Trustee Thorne, seconded by Trustee Doman. No discussion on first reading. All those in favor? That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley gives second reading to the 2024-2025 annual budget in the amount of $133,433,592. Moved by Trustee Strachan, seconded by Trustee Lise. All those in favor? Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley considers 3 readings of the 2024-2025 annual budget at this meeting. Moved by Trustee Thorne, seconded by Trustee Croft. All those in favor? Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley gives third and final reading to the 2024-2025 annual budget in the amount of $133,433,592. Moved by Trustee Doman, seconded by Trustee Strachan. All those in favor? Thanks, folks.
Thank you very much. That was a very long process. It's nice to have that behind us, and a lot of work from the board and staff and community went into this year's budget, and I think given the challenges, we had a reasonable outcome. The next item I have on the agenda, I am going to need to share the distribution. It's on your desktop, but anybody following along in the public won't have it.
Do you have the stuff that was added? I don't know where it is.
Here, you may have this one.
Oh, thank you.
The board has received 2023-2024 Student and Family Affordability Fund, additional funds of $347,000. So that fund is coming this year. It has already been received, and we had to look at how to distribute those funds out to the schools. We did an analysis of the spending patterns from the last distribution of these funds in 2022-2023. We were able to look at what was spent at the end of the year, and then slightly alter our distribution allocation method. So we use a weighted method. We look at giving every school some funding based on being a school, and the other portion based on tiering and population. So we hope there is a no perfect allocation, and this is where I'd like to share it onto the screen.
Questions? Trustee Strachan.
Remind me if you reevaluate this, like, in your quarters that are closer to the end of fiscal, can the principals share this amongst their locations if they're not using the fund? Or
I think they could be generous, but it would likely come back to the same team to see if that's where the funds should be distributed. But certainly a principal could say that they have funds remaining. It would come back for redistribution to, based on the district needs.
And have they done that over the last couple of years of this fund?
Not yet. But however, when allocating this year's funding, we looked at the schools that had significant funding left, and we looked at the schools that had used it all quickly, and it does make sense based on sort of the tier weighting of schools that are of higher need or community need or community financial demographic need would receive more funding. So what we have done on this model is hold back $30,000 for before and after school care for one. We have families that is their need, is to have that before and after care funds deferred. So there's a bit there. And we also have a contingency, and that may be partly to what you're referring to around schools that have spent all the money. We have had many schools come back and ask for the last time's contingency and have then done a redistribution to move the 2022-2023 funds out to those schools that had already previously spent.
Thank you. Trustee Kraft.
One comment and one question. So historically, when schools have received, I don't want to say mad money, Jason gets mad when I call it that, but sort of unexpected money that they have some freedom to do certain things with. When it's been more restricted, then they have suggested that it go to perhaps their feeder schools and that kind of thing. So anyway, so that's definitely on the agenda, and there's a process for that, and there's a history of that. So my question is, before and after school, when you talk about deferring, but deferring sometimes mean that people don't have to pay until later. Would we actually be relieving some families of having to pay their before and after school fees?
That would be what that was for.
So it's not deferral, it's, thank you.
Trustee Lise.
I would just like to say thank you for really considering the before and after school care. We had our early learning and childcare meeting today where we discussed that if families can't go to work, then their entire family suffers, and this allows families that need to be working to be able to work. So thank you.
Any other questions? So we have a motion before us that the Board of Education of School District 79 Cowichan Valley approves the distribution of the Student and Family Affordability Fund as presented. Moved by Trustee Lise, seconded by Trustee Sousa. All those in favor? Thanks, folks. Committees and, I found it. I'll give you that. Committees and outside organizations. So these are all the motions coming out of BEBC, folks. So we'll just do this discussion once we get the motion on the table if we need to do discussion. So 10.1, coming out of BEBC, that the Board of Education and Business Committee recommends that the Board of Education of School District 79 Cowichan Valley approves the 2025, 2026, 2027 international student fees as presented. Moved by Trustee Sousa, seconded by Trustee Thorne. All those in favor? Thank you. I know that we've got the backup paperwork in here if we need to talk about it. Motions arising, the Board of Education of School District 79 Cowichan Valley authorizes the 2024-2025 Cowichan Secondary School Rugby Academy fees to be set at $5,500 for local district students and out of province, and $15,000 for international students. Moved by Trustee Strachan, seconded by Trustee Croft. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District 79 Cowichan Valley authorizes the 2024-2025 Francis Kelsey School Soccer Academy fees to be set at $300 per year. Moved by Trustee Lise. I'm going to need you guys to turn your tags in. Seconded by Trustee Tolman. Thank you, Jennifer. All those in favor? Thank you. That the Board of Education and Business Committee recommends that the Board of Education of School District 79 Cowichan Valley authorizes the 2024-2025 Francis Kelsey Secondary School Outdoor Adventure Education Academy fee to be set at $1,100 per year. Moved by trustee Doma, seconded by trustee Sousa. All those in favor? Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley authorizes the 2024-2025 Equestrian Academy at Francis Kelsey Secondary School fees be set at $3,000 per year. Moved by trustee Strachan, seconded by trustee Sousa. All those in favor? Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley approves the change in structure of the Francis Kelsey Ice Hockey Academy and authorizes the 2024-2025 fees be set at $1,425 per year. Moved by trustee Doman, seconded by trustee Lise. All those in favor? That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley authorizes that the 2024-2025 fees for Cowichan Valley Performing Arts Academy be set at $4,500 per year. Moved by trustee Dovis, seconded by trustee Strachan. All those in favor? Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley receives and accepts the Climate Action Report. Yes.
Can we modify it just so that we're clear on what this is? It's the Climate Action Framework, so can we modify the motion? As such,
Absolutely.
rather than confuse the plan that's coming?
Receives and accepts the Climate Action Framework. Thank you, trustee Sousa. Would you like to move that motion then?
Yes.
All right. Moved by trustee Sousa, seconded by trustee Croft. Any discussion? All those in favor? Perfect. Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley authorizes that fees for students whose parents normally reside in another province in Canada or Canadian territory be set annually to match the prior year's student block rates. Moved by trustee Cross, seconded by trustee Sousa. All those in favor? Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley adopts the revised policy 3, role of the trustee as amended. Moved by trustee Strachan. Seconded by trustee Sousa. All those in favor? Thank you. And that the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley adopts revised policy 4, trustee code of conduct as amended. Moved by trustee Sousa, seconded by trustee Thorne. All those in favor? Thank you. Schedule of upcoming meetings and events. Anybody see anything that is missed? Thank you for adding the year-end celebrations in here. It is muchly appreciated. Trustees, don't forget to mark your calendars for graduations and district scholarships next week. All right. So hearing nothing, correspondence. So as we all know, we received correspondence from West Vancouver Schools, but we've also received correspondence from the Saanich School District, who spearheaded the letter that we have coming to us regarding the inflationary costs. So the letter of 8 has been signed, our letter has been signed, and so all 8 letters will be presented to the Assistant Deputy Minister of Finance shortly. So this is that the Board of Education, School District 79 receives the following correspondence from West Vancouver School Board Chair to Minister Singh and Conroy. Moved by trustee Thorne, seconded by trustee Lise. All those in favor? And then here we go with our letter, new business. I've been asked that we have this as a motion form in our books. So I asked that the Board of Education of Schools District 79 sends this letter to Minister Singh and Minister Conroy on behalf of the Cowichan Valley Board of Education regarding lack of funding to inflationary costs. Do I have a mover, please? Trustee Thorne, moved by, seconded by trustee Sousa. All those in favor? Thank you, trustees. Question period.
Yes, we are going to have an online question coming that is on the agenda, so I'll bring that one shortly. For our gallery, if you wish to answer or ask the board a question on an item that's on the agenda, that's not the delegation or the presentation, You may write that on one of the sheets, slide there and submit it. For anybody online who wishes to ask a question on the business of the boards and not on the recognition or the delegation, you can do so by putting your name, which your name should be on your Zoom link, as well as your address, the item on the agenda you wish to ask a question about, and the question. The first question has come in, and it is in relation to the annual facilities budget. It's from Nadine Fitney of 3290 Melrose Crescent, Cobble Hill, BC. And this one is in relation to the AFG plan, facilities budget that was presented, and it is in relation to the question we're going to require the Director of Operations to answer. It is on the the panel system that is part of the AFG plan. Why was it required at Mill Bay Nature School?
The system is it's an updated system, and it is in the process and end of life, and that's where we're at now with the system. So because it's there, we've
Thank you. The second question is related to the delegation, so it would not be eligible to be asked at the meeting. I'm just watching to see if there's any other questions coming in.
I'd just like to wonder, I understand why we ask for people's address, but I think maybe it might be nicer if we don't read it out loud. If we have it for our records, that's great, yeah. I know this is the first time it's come up.
The question wasn't able to hear the answer on the fire panel. It's just at end of life.
So trustees, how about if we take 5 minutes after this, we'll get a motion to adjourn and then we'll go back into close. So moved by trustee Doman, seconded by trustee Sousa. All those in favor, meeting adjourned.